Hello and welcome back to Blue Crescent Tarot. My name is Deanne, and today the video I am working on is a video response, tarot tag to Jen's Balance Tarot, and the hashtag is Balance the Deck Scales. I had to look at my notes to make sure because I always call it something different, but it is hashtag Balance the Deck Scales. And I think Jen had put this out maybe a month or two ago. I said that for the last late tag I did, and it ended up only being a month ago instead of 2 months ago. So my concept of time is a little off right now, but anyway, it's a bit delayed, but I'm finally having some time to get back in my tarot space and work on some videos for you all. So really wanted to partake in this one. So again, just going to be a late response. So when I first watched Jen's video about this, I was just on a little work break, and so I had my notebook right there and I took some notes about what I would use as my responses. So the idea is that you take each of the 5 elements in tarot and you pick 2 decks for each element. So the idea is to, in some way, balance your first choice with your second choice. So in some way, they're kind of opposites to each other or offer a different perspective within the element. So I think as I go, it'll kind of make sense. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down. So we'll have spirit, air, fire, water, and earth. And the first one, my only cheat is in the spirit element. The first deck I chosen is actually an oracle. The rest of them are all tarot decks, but because it sort of is this umbrella type of deck that I feel everything falls underneath, and so that's why I'm starting out with here's the box so you can see it's a mess in here, but hold on. So here's the box cover to the first one, the Wild Unknown Archetypes deck. This is my first choice for spirit deck. And once you open it up, then the box looks like, let me see where the top is, I guess it doesn't matter. This is what the box looks like. And then inside the box, we have this smaller circle box with the gemstone on it. So basically, just in case you see different things and get confused about what's what, this is the actual deck that is in that circle box. And so this to me represents spirit because it's archetypes. It's the biggest picture point for everything, and then to me everything kind of falls underneath that. So that's very kind of spirit oriented, all encompassing sort of thing. And whether we want to call that spirit, source, whatever, that kind of top down, everything fits underneath it. So to me, again, this is very spirit oriented. The offering, and I often use this in conjunction with tarot cards. So even though I cheated a bit and picked an oracle, this is I think this tag would be cool to do with oracles as well. So anyway, this I thought, because I use it paired with tarot really often actually, that I know it kind of works with that and has, you know, some matching themes, of course, because tarot is full of archetypes. So here's the offering. Here's a good example of one that matches in with the tarot archetypes. The sword. The mask. So I won't do too many because there's 10 decks here, obviously. So this is a beautiful deck and I really love it. And I highly recommend it. Not that this video is about deck recommendations, but obviously I love all these things because they're what I've picked to show you today. So the second one for spirit is, it's a total mess in this room. So bear with me looking around like a crazy person because I have just stacks all around me. I can only get out one way and go around this tiny table. There's hardly any room to walk because I'm terrible and I haven't organized this room since we moved at the very end of February. So if I seem a little scattered in here, it's because I'm packed in with all my tarot decks right now. So my second choice for a spirit deck is the Starchild, and here's the box for that one. And then on the inside it says, "We are all stardust." People are hot and cold on this deck. There are some videos about Starchild versus Moonchild and which one people like better. I have both. I love them both. I will say that consensus is that this Starchild deck is more feminine because of the color palette, I guess. I don't typically give gender to colors, but if you feel something's more masculine or more feminine and you want to use it or you don't want to use it, that's great. But that's just a little side note I have about that. But it's very pastel. It has the kind of like gold dust gilding on it, which is really nice. There's not an edge, you know, it doesn't catch on anything. And the backs are these nice pastel pinks and purples. And for me, why this is a spirit deck, because it's all this cosmic setting, and that's my kind of home base. I love earthy decks. I love that grounded energy, but to me, these spirit decks are grounding, and I feel that sense of being anchored there. I feel that that's where I, you know, ascended, descended, right? It's all just cyclical, but that's where I feel my kind of home base is. So we have a lot of these kind of starry cosmic images with the Knight Swords there. Here we have the moon. So this is my other spirit deck. I feel that it is very connects me to my higher self, really helps me tap into intuition. I don't know how well you can see the sacred geometry showing up in the middle of this one, the Nine of Wands in the center there. So, you know, this sort of thing. Here we have like a pyramid image with the moon above. So this is my other spirit deck. If you're looking for a deck, just as a side note, the whole Starchild versus Moonchild thing, if you want a deck that has more balance of sort of like as above, so below, definitely go with the Moonchild. Just, again, this is not a video about recommending decks, but if you're thinking about these, oh, I love this. The Starchild is definitely more all about that cosmic and higher self vibe, whereas the Moonchild is sort of incorporates both. But for me, I would say Moonchild is more earthy and Starchild is more this higher self kind of thing. So just in case you're not familiar with those, but yeah, love the images here and feel very intuitively connected when I use this deck, and in touch with the source and spirit and guides. So that's my second choice for spirit decks. And as a balance to the Wild Unknown Archetypes, this one is more sort of all-inclusive in terms of the elements, and we have some earthy archetypes and some higher self archetypes, right? I guess that's what I'm calling it for the sake of this video. And the Starchild is more just that headspace, starry, cosmic vibe, if that makes sense. So that's why, more importantly, for this video, that I chose these two sort of as counterweights to each other. So there's that one. Air. So for the pairing for air, as many people who have completed this tarot tag have said, they could pick all kinds of different decks for this. I could do this again tomorrow and pick 10 different decks, and it would be totally totally applicable, right? It would work again many times over. So for this air element, I want to give credit to Conor Gibbons, who I don't believe makes content, but you can often find him in a chat on Simon's channel at the Hermit's Cave, or at Becca's channel, Becca Talks in Tarot, and I'll put those two links in the description. Those are two of my favorites. I'm on there all the time. So one day, just in a sidebar, Conor and I had been chatting, and he mentioned that he likes to use the True Black Tarot and the Fountain Tarot as like light and shadow, or as above so below readings. So as someone who does those kind of big reflective readings a lot, there's a spread I have from a deck called Tarot of Shadows, I think. There's another one that has a similar name, and it's not the more popular one. I hardly ever see it. It's in a silver box, and it has a red pentagram and like the Capricorn devil head on it. And I don't know where it is right now. It's in this room somewhere, but hiding like an Easter egg. In that guidebook, there is a rather large spread called the Mirror, and it has a top piece of the spread, and then you reflect that down, and it kind of makes this big diamond. And I use these two decks after Conor's suggestion to use in that spread. So the other, again, bringing it back to the purpose of this video, these work well as opposites for me because one is light in color, one is dark in color. The Fountain Tarot is very much, for me, feels like, shame on me, these are sticking a little bit because they've been in my car. Ugh. But everything's still perfect because this deck is completely amazing. Anyway, the Fountain Tarot is very light in color. True Black, obviously very dark. Here are the backs. If you haven't seen this, the quality is unmatched, really. Some other decks are kind of getting up there now, but the images to me are very airy in both of these decks. The Fountain Tarot to me feels, even though the artwork is very beautiful, it feels kind of stripped down, or like a stage with too much light on it. And for me, that makes it really just puts the lights on what you need to see, if that makes sense. It's a little icy feeling. It's a little, it's pretty ethereal feeling. These two are both kind of just a step down from that spirit level for me, even though for me all readings are spirit led. That's just how I read, so everything is spirit to me. But these both feel very airy. They feel a little disconnected from the here and now, to kind of, I think about the air element as kind of suspending me above and being able to get a better look, even though these images aren't very earthly. Does that make sense? Like, this is one of my favorites, the Temperance card. I'm gonna put over here in case the light is better. Isn't she just beautiful? So because these don't, to me, really look, I mean, some people actually look like this, but these all kind of seem like statues or just these kind of ethereal beings. So it's very airy to me, and they're all kind of floating, right? No one's really on the ground. I shouldn't say that. A couple of them might be, but here's the Lovers card, and they're kind of floating as well. So everything is just kind of in this suspended space. And for me, that kind of disconnect can help sometimes, right? Get out of the mess of the here and now and be able to see a little more clearly. The Chariot, oh, that feels thick, but that's just one, right? Everyone's floating in this space. So there's my first air element deck, and a couple cards from the Fountain Tarot. Just take whatever's on top here. We have the Ten of Coins, right? So this really light feeling, but again, still has enough of that sort of ethereal disconnect for me to fall into the air element. Now here's Queen of Coins. This is probably, of course, one of the earthiest cards in this deck, but I think still falls under, for me, that air element. Everything's very light. Page of Cups, just kind of clear, again, almost overwashed with light. Three of Cups, right? This is a water card, but it looks somehow breezy, right? There's this sort of, looks like there's breeze going through every card to me. And so that, I think, is of course why I feel that these two work so well together. And again, thank you to Conor Gibbons for this suggestion, because I use this now all the time. So here's a good example of these two working together. So if you're looking for something for a shadow and light reading, many things of course work, but I really love these two together. Okay, so then let's see. My fire element, I have PrismaVisions, which I think I have the 4th edition, and the Mary L. And I think Simon chose Mary L for his fire as well, which to me is kind of an obvious choice for that one, but I just went with it anyway because that's what I had written down when I watched Jen's, and then I watched Simon's, and I think I remember that. So let me see here. So PrismaVisions and Mary L. So for fire, we're thinking about passions and motivation and that progress that we're making on our path. What keeps us moving forward, right? What is the fire that motivates us? I have often referred to the PrismaVisions as a bonfire. It feels like a bonfire to me. That's the kind of energy I get from it. Excuse me, my nose is so itchy all of a sudden. So here is the Devil card, which first off, just amazing, but those nice warm reds. Of course, now I'm into the Swords, which has all the snow in it, but like this Ace of Pentacles, I always think about this card when I think about this deck. Going through that little threshold, fall, autumn colors. And even the Ace of Swords, this feels, you know, it has that little bit of sort of autumn rainbow color in it, and I think that's what makes me think of a bonfire. Queen of Wands. So because I just always call this the bonfire deck, it had to be part of my fire element for balance the deck scales. Here's the Star, right? Typically I love blues and purples and all the things that typically come with a Star card, but for this deck this really works. The Sun, this is my favorite Sun card ever. Favorite ever. I don't typically like the vibe of a typical Sun card because it makes me feel hot. It's like yellow and orange and it's too bright and brash, and I don't really care for summer and like direct light and direct heat. And so for me, this kind of rainbow vibe works a lot better. The sun is supposed to be this vibrant, happy thing, but I shy away from the actual sun because it's too much for me. So anyway, this is my, let's do one more, 4 of Pentacles here. This is my first one for the fire element. And in terms of, you know, aside from just the visual aspect that makes me think of fire, the messages that I get from this deck are very inspiring and motivating, whereas some other decks, like the Fountain Tarot for instance, might make me stop and think and be meditative about things and let that light kind of shine in and see where I need to fix things or balance things or wait or go. This deck always is kind of that go energy, right? Even though the cards within the tarot, some are about motion and some are about stillness, this one, the whole color palette is very motivating, I think, but in a gentle way, which I like because I don't like to be pushed. So this is sort of going on a tangent about the PrismaVisions in and of itself, but there's my first deck for the fire element. And it's very blue, right, in terms of background and everything like that, so it's a nice balance to the Mary L. This is the 2nd edition. I had a replacement copy sent to me because the edging on this wasn't really perfect, and wherever I ordered from originally, which I I can't remember if it was a publisher or if it was directly from Marie White. I can't remember how that all happened, but she automatically sent, oh, I think Schiffer. I don't really remember. When this black edge deck came out, there were a lot of problems with the packaging and cards were sliding around and some people had damaged decks. I really didn't, but I was one of the people that got an automatic second copy, and I actually gifted that to someone that I know from, just that I know online from the Hermit's Cave Facebook group. And so I sent my, I think we just did shipping or whatever. I sent my silver edge copy to someone in the group because while this one isn't perfect, none of my cards were damaged. There's just a little bit of wear on the corners in terms of the edging, but that doesn't matter to me, and I loved the black edging. Anyway, total tangent. Sorry, I'm excited that I get to be making videos today. So the Mary L is, to me, so, it just stirs that motivation and that drive, right? This is, to me, pushier than the PrismaVisions, but still intellectual enough that it's not telling me what to do. It's urging me, but it's more about the emotion that it gives. It's not yelling at me to do something, if that makes sense. So, let me find, so here's the death card. This doesn't necessarily give the fire vibe that I'm talking about, but I just have to show it because it's one of the best. Temperance, right? That tiger energy, that forward moving, being prepared for whatever comes your way. Here's the Tower, very fiery, right? Huge fire element in this Tower card, as always, but just visually, I think, really striking in this rendition of it. The Star, here's another star that incorporates those reds and oranges, right? So I think that kind of theme, subtle as it might seem when you're flipping through the whole deck, obviously really stuck out to me in the PrismaVisions and in this Mary L. So the book for this is incredible. Even if you're not really a book person when it comes to tarot, I would highly suggest, if you're thinking about this deck and you are a book person, get this, because the book is amazing. I remember the first time I listened to a video about this deck, the first one I listened to that was a review or an in-depth walkthrough was on Kelly's channel, from the Truth and Story. Her channel is always linked in my information because I use her color and Story Lenormand deck in my intro, so I always have her link in there. So do check out her review of this. I was listening to her video because I used to drive 90 minutes one way every day for work. Oh God. So crazy as that was, that's how I came to know this tarot community, because I needed something to listen to. And Kelly tends to make really long videos, which I love, even if I'm just sitting on my couch and diving into a Kelly video. But it was perfect for driving home because she has a lot of 90-minute videos, and then I could just listen to her all the way home. Thank you, Kelly, for your long videos. 8 of Discs. Anyway, when I was listening to this, Kelly read from the book, and I, oh, excuse me, 9 of Wands, right? Very fiery. I was just crying about whatever she was reading in the book. And prior to that, I'd been on the fence about this because I'm like, I don't know if it's really my artwork. Some of the images I really liked. Some of them I thought, that's weird. I don't really vibe with that. But I totally do. This is really a learner study deck. So if you are on the fence and you're a book person, I'm going to say get this, because here I am promoting decks. I don't mean to, but this is amazing. So, and there are other cards in it. It's not all fiery, right? We have the Page of Cups here. We have a lot of that blue energy, water, fish, right? So it's not all, I'm just pulling out the ones that are extra kind of red energy. Here's a white tiger, my favorite animal, so I had to have this. Just another reason I had to have it. But if you really want to kind of get under the skin of something, this deck is incredible. So there's that for my other fire deck. I really got off on a tangent there, but it's okay. Fire. Okay, next is water. I still need to do a video about this next deck I'm going to talk about because I'm so in love with it. Veronica Jude is one of my favorite humans on the planet. She doesn't know me. I just watch her tarot videos, but she is amazing. I could just put her video playlist on and just listen to it all day. I feel that way a lot with Kelly too, but they're a very different energy, and it just kind of depends on the day what kind of mood I'm in. But anyway, that's another sidebar. I will do another video about my obsessions with Kelly and Veronica Jude. But for now, my first deck I chose for water element is this Veronica Jude deck. You can get this on Make Playing Cards. I believe it is called Don't Panic, which it says right here in this little starry river. I believe the deck is called Don't Panic. Initially it was unnamed, so I don't know exactly about the info on Make Playing Cards. I will try to find it and link it in the description, but I have a really hard time with that site for some reason, so I'll at least put the information there. This I flipped through and shuffled through, and the first two cards I drew, I don't know if I drew one or two cards, but one of them was Stevie Nicks, and she's another favorite of mine, and so I just felt so connected to this immediately. But I also watched lots of Veronica Jude videos while she was making this over the past few years, and so I felt really involved with this deck. Then I drew a card for my husband, and it was the Foo Fighters quote, Dave Grohl, and I cried when I pulled that out. So this is very watery to me because I'm very emotionally involved. This is something that Veronica worked on for a long time, and almost all of her videos would kind of mention it, or you would know how her progress was coming, or she went to this concert and that informed how she was doing this card, and she did this thing and that informed the next piece of it. So I was just really emotionally wrapped up in the creation of this. And then finally, but at the perfect moment, this was available. So it's a tarot deck, but you can move around the quartz. You can really move around anything, and I won't even be able to tell you right now the order of these. I left my mini in order so that I would know what her intentions were for the order of the deck, but you can move them around to anything because nothing says Four of Swords or King of Pentacles on it. You just have, here's a court card, the Teacher Giver, right? So they have, each element has its own set of court titles, and you can move those four around in any position that you want, which I really like for many reasons. But I will leave it just like she intended it, because like Katie Flowers and like Veronica Jude and like a few other people, I read King energy as earth and Page energy as air, and some people flip those around. So anyway, I bought the mini version as well and left them in order because I need to write down what all of the cards actually are in my tarot journal so that I can figure that out if I ever really want to know. But you don't have to know. You can just pull these cards and read them as they are. Shake things up, rattle cages, stretch your vision. But look at that water scene, right? So these are, it's sort of like oracle messages with a tarot system, right? Because it's a full deck of 78. So here's the Dave Gruhl card, the provider. I think I just broke my leg. This is while mid-concert in Germany. He had it set off stage and finished both the concert and the tour. And she has a video where she talks about this and how that prompted her journal writing on the plane ride home. And so he just kept going, right? He's the provider. And I pulled this from my husband and I read it to him and he got tears in his eyes because we're huge fans. And so again, just the whole emotional tie to this deck really proved itself as soon as I had it in my hands. So anyway, I will do a different video about this. I know I'm talking way too long about this, but it's basically stock photos and quotes, and then that kind of unique way of presenting the quartz. Oh, anyway, short version would be I chose Don't Panic, Veronica Jude's tarot deck, as my water element deck because it feels watery to me. Right? That would be the short version. And let me just show you how cute the mini is while we're here. Look, adorable. And you can choose your card finishes and your gilding finishes on Make Plain cards as well. It's amazing. So I got my tiny one, my mini in plastic, and this one in the smooth matte with the silver. Anyway. If you're still hanging out, you're a trooper. I'm over a half hour now. So, Veronica Jude, Don't Panic. And this pouch did not come with it. This, you can get boxes on Make Plain cards. This is just a little zipper pouch that I have. I actually sell these. I don't make them, but I sell them. If you want one, let me know. All different patterns. Okay. There's my water deck. My second water deck is Tarot Serene because it's amazing. And this is a little Marseille deck. This is the sister deck to the Marshmallow Marseille. I don't actually have the Marshmallow yet, but I have shipping notification for it. Or actually not, but I verified my address the other day because those are back in print, back in stock now. This Tarot Serene actually came back in stock from their creator too. But about a month ago, I bought it from an affiliated shop, which the creators had listed on their site. And it was pretty expensive. And had I known that this was coming back out from the creator, I probably just would have waited, but whatever, it's totally worth it. Cute, shiny mermaid box. So adorable. And this is a Marseille Pip style deck. But here we have like the two pentacles. We have the eel wrapped all around it. So obviously this one is very watery, right? We have one of the kings here as a merman. And the empress. Maybe that was the emperor. I don't know. It's in French. I can't right now because I'm too excited about just looking at it. So the cups even have these little scales and fins on them, right? Total water vibe here. We have some eels entwined for the Two of Cups. So obviously this one is very watery. In conjunction with the Veronica Jude deck, this is a nice balance because I'm very emotionally tied to that Veronica Jude one, and this one would offer a little more of that distance between the cards because I'm not super emotionally connected to these like I am to the Don't Panic. So plus this one is a Marseille, has that kind of cleaner structure. Veronica's deck is very messy, which I mean in the best way possible, and just kind of journally and has quotes and you're kind of just getting out feelings. And this one is more structured, right? We see the Ace of Wands. That means a particular set of things, and I don't have, you know, probably tears in my eyes when I'm reading with this deck, though it is beautiful. But I think that kind of makes sense as how those two balance each other out. So there's the Tarot Serene. No book in there. I don't think there's a book, right? I'm just making a mess. Okay, last two. I chose for my first Earth deck is the Lily White, which I really, really love. I have the Lily Black as well, and here's the box. And this is by Celia Melesville. She has a deck on Kickstarter right now too. Can't think what it's called, but if you search her name, it's a little fox deck, and the name is whatever that is in French, right? Which I don't know. But anyway, I love her artwork. Here is the wheel, probably my favorite wheel. Love, love, love this card. This deck feels very earthy to me. It feels everyday. Just, I mean, it's beautiful, but it's very grounded energy to me. So this was a quick pick for me when we were talking about earthy decks. The Eight of Cups, walking down this little dock or bridge. Here's the Hermit sitting in the base of a tree, right? Lots of earth imagery, and it just feels very down to earth to me. Beautiful artwork, love her stuff, so do check out the artist and her site if you like the look of these things. Here's the Fool, right? There are some people in the courts, but like here for the Fool, we just have this tree. So there's again that earthy feeling. Oh my gosh, this Two Wands, I love so much. I love it so much. Look at that. So that's my earth energy pick for deck 1. And for deck 2, one of my probably top 10 favorite decks. The Lily White might be in that group too, actually, I don't know. Is the Wayhome Tarot. This is by Bakara Wintner, Wintner. I don't know why I'm not just looking, because it's not on here. It will be in the description. And Autumn Whitehurst, I believe, is the artist. So this deck is very down to earth vibe as well. The imagery, like look, we have these 10 different bar glasses for the 10 of Cups, right? Just real life stuff. There's that nature element, 8 of Wands. So even though this is like sky weather type thing, it still feels very earthy to me, right? Because it's a real life thing. This is one of my favorite 4 of Pentacles ever. Frog on the lily pads, right? So it just feels very real to me. The court cards are done in this silhouette fashion with then like the energy or the element within the body, which I love. So the death card is this deer who's just like gutted open, and I don't know if you can see, but there are crystals, like I don't know, maybe rubies or garnets or something sitting in all that blood. So it's this this reminder that everything regenerates and energy's never really gone, and that good grows even out of loss, right? So very, very earthy vibe with all of that. Love this deck. I wanted to show one in particular, but if I can't find it, then I'll just be on with, oh, here's a favorite, 10 Pentacles, this party table setup, right? So it's just every day, it brings it to real life, and definitely feels very earthy to me. So my other favorite, I can't find right at the moment, but I won't keep you much longer. So that's my first, oh no, that was my last one. That was my Wayhome as a balance to Lily White. So as a balance to the Lily White, I feel like the Wayhome is more like snapshots of day-to-day life. There are those sort of nature images and more sort of artsy pictures like the Lily White. I think these are kind of similar for me. The color palettes and things like that kind of vibe together. But I think the Lily White is a little more, I keep using the term disconnected, but not in a bad way. I just feel like the Wayhome, these two are probably the least opposite than any of the other ones I've shown, but I feel like the Wayhome is a little more, shows day-to-day life and those day-to-day people, whereas the Lily White is maybe a little more artsy. that's really it. But these are pretty similar, but do offer kind of enough of a balance shift for me if I'm looking for something different. So I don't know if that made sense, but I just wanted to play along with this tag finally, and I'll have to remember to share this with Jen because she told me to do that a month ago. So anyway, thank you, Jen, for this awesome tarot tag, which again is Balance the Deck Scales, and I will of course have that in the title of this video. I think that's probably it for today. I hope to be back next weekend with another video for you, either Saturday or Sunday. So in the meantime, please like and subscribe, and if you want to play along with this either in the comments or make your own video, please let me know. I would love to watch it. We can revive it a month later or two, whatever it has been. And I think that's it for today. So thank you so much for hanging out. Love to you all.